minutes or so, two matters in the main: the crime situation and the issue of climate change, our response to the November 6th weather system which devastated the north. The figures are now being tabulated. Millions in damages, as we first reported 2 Mondays ago, are now being confirmed by government officials. The Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, has been trying to access a loan from the Caribbean Development Bank, a rapid response facility, is it, to the tune of $5 million US dollars, having some concern on his part with the manner in which the process, according to him, is taking way too much time. The Prime Minister chided the Caribbean Development Bank this morning. We now go beyond the headlines.
The floods are going to be coming again, and they may be worse than what happened on Sunday. That is the reality that we face.
Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre on Tuesday issued a scathing warning that climate change is in fact real, emphasizing that the island needs to improve its mitigation and adaptation measures. However, he highlighted that in the interim, the state needs to acquire the requisite financing to aid recovery efforts currently underway. Acting Director of NEMO, Maria Maydard, disclosed that preliminary assessments indicate that over $1 million in damages were incurred due to the upper-level trough system. That figure is expected to triple by the conclusion of the more comprehensive reports.
So far, based on the assessments that we have made as of 12 November, $1,813.45 in damages. Again, that's initial. By the end of probably next week, we will have a better picture of the damages. And note again, I'm saying damages and not recovery costs, because we know there's inflation and so on. So that would probably triple in terms of recovering. The education sector, we had one school that suffered major damage, and that's the Dame Paulette Louise School. The damage is estimated at $780. This also affected the students, because you had students on the 780,000, my apology. The infrastructural sector, we looked at initial again damages, $854,180.
While lamenting over the undesirable conditions that households are to endure while the island recovers, Prime Minister Pierre urged the Central Development Bank to hasten the finalization of a US $5 million loan that will be allocated to fund relief measures.
We have applied for a loan from the Caribbean Development Bank of $5 million US dollars, which we hope we will get. And there is also a grant of $300,000 US dollars. The grant, we have to apply for that grant. There were some issues, whether it was a level 1 or level 2. I think these issues have been rectified, so we should be able to get these funds in as soon as possible. But again, we have to deal with the bureaucracy of the bank and all the documents and all that. And I always say, and I make no bones about it, why is you getting all that paperwork done? People are suffering. We have to do all that paperwork, and people are suffering. I think that our technocrats must understand that while they're asking for all these papers, and people, real people, are suffering.
The government indicated that plans are afoot to secure a grant for the flood-hit Dame Paulette Louise Primary School to get students back to school. Prime Minister Pierre also spoke of plans to access a grant to facilitate the replacement of household appliances damaged or lost during the flood. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Kareem Nelson.
Thanks for that, Kareem. And we use that report and step into beyond the headlines. Now the figures continue to be tabulated, and we can expect those figures to increase as the various assessments, the Dana report and the Dala report are assessed, and the various reports continue to come in and are compiled. We can expect those figures to increase. Let's take a closer look now at some of the numbers down from that press conference provided by the Office of the Prime Minister, where they provided, number of updates. We can start right here. Approximately 157 millimeters or 6.1 inches of rainfall was recorded in the Rodney Bay Grosley area. 104 millimeters or just about 4 inches of rainfall was recorded in Forestier Castries. What was the impact? Flooding, in fact, flash flooding, landslides, and land slippage associated. That was the impact. Extensive damage to public infrastructure as well as private property as well. That included homes, businesses, and numerous communities from Forestier in Castries to Bossejou in Grosley. Numerous communities were affected. The damage assessment and analysis report has been commissioned by NEMO, and as of the 14th of this month, that Dana report indicated that approximately 300 households have been affected by the trough. Of those 300 households, we can expect the number to increase, but the occupants of those households, they are saying and reporting that they lost 80 to 90% of general household items. Preliminary loss and damage estimates that the residential properties affected by the November 6th trough, the figure now stands at 1.8 million. That's just residential damage, preliminary 1.8 million in loss and damage to residential property. The Ministry of Infrastructure has also done its assessment of the impact that infrastructure suffered as a result of the trough system, and the damage to public infrastructure related to the passage of that system on Sunday the 6th of November has been estimated at $854,180, just about 50 odd thousand shy of $1 million. So just about $1 million in infrastructure losses and damages now being accounted for by the relevant agencies. A total of 8 schools were impacted by the bad weather. In the main, 2 schools suffered the current secondary, but the one which took the brunt of the impact is the Dame Pullet, which is situated in a flood-prone area. So Dame Pullet was severely compromised as a result of the flood damage, and we're now learning that approximately $2.4 million is now required to undertake reconstruction work to restore the school plant. Damage and loss assessment, that Dala report that we spoke to earlier, has also been conducted by the Ministry of Agriculture. The intention there is to examine the impact of the system on the agriculture, fisheries, and forestry subsector. To date, the loss and damage costing in the agricultural sector 1 and 2, that's in the north of the island, is estimated at again $1.2 million. The loss and damage assessment on the commercial sector, the affected zones are continuing and will be reported subsequently, but not including the projected losses suffered by the affected businesses. Preliminary cost estimates at present, those costs will exceed $6.2 million. We could hold on right there. So do the math, St. Lucia. As we indicated, just from the onset, our surface and general citizen perspective, the Monday, the day after, we reported here that the damages would exceed millions. Just from what we saw, you had landslides, you had damaged culverts and bridges, that's infrastructure. You had the Dame Pool at Louise Primary Schools suffering setbacks, significant impact there. Other institutions as well. Private property, the commercial establishment. So from the onset, we identified millions. Now, government technocrats are putting the confirmed figures together. In the commercial sector, preliminary 6.2 million for the Dame Pool at Louise. We're talking 2.3 million in infrastructure, nearly $1 million in agriculture, 1.2 million. When you do the maths and you add it up, that exceeds 10 million Eastern Caribbean dollars easy. The Prime Minister is having a challenge with the processing of a rapid response facility with the Caribbean Development Bank, the CDB. But Prime Minister Pierre knows all too well the processes involved in the disbursement of those loans. He's not a newcomer. He's been around for quite some time, and it happens not just with the disbursement of loans. It happens with perhaps every single regional institution and the service they deliver to citizens of this region. There is a slow drawdown in these services. So the Prime Minister knows fair too well, but expressing his dissatisfaction with the slow pace and asking the Caribbean Development Bank to speed up the process somewhat. The Prime Minister remains hopeful that his government will cash in on that loan, the rapid response facility. There are other avenues and other facilities that they are exploring as well, but that is the main one for now. NEMO and us here, we support it entirely, continues to appeal to able citizens. Not everybody can, but those citizens who are able to reach out and to make donations, make contributions to citizens who continue to suffer. We shared the figures. Some people in Corinth, Grand Riviere, even in Mark, in Bexar and other communities who were hit, they're reporting they lost 80 to 90% of all household supplies. So you in your domain just now, you have risen to a new sunrise today, and just go figure tomorrow. You look around your house and try to picture tomorrow waking up with 80 to 90% of what you now have no longer available to you. That is the current day reality for many, many citizens in the north of the island. So we continue to support the calls by NEMO for citizens to contribute and donate. Citizens who are able to, as small as it is, you know it will go a long way. Help out a citizen in need. It's enough this time around. You never know when it will be another community who will then need support. So if you are able to, please continue to donate. And we say thank you, job well done to the many citizens, institutions, and friendly governments who continue to donate. Government having tight fiscal constraints apparently, but the Prime Minister and his cabinet trying to unlock some doors to financing as citizens wait. People are now requesting immediate assistance. You know how these things go in the aftermath of a disaster. People want real, tangible assistance on the now. So whereas the Prime Minister continues to attempt to unlock international, regional doors to funding, many citizens are looking for some sort of assistance. He has here initiated a $200,000 budget for relief as well, 200,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars. The Taiwanese, they've contributed about 100,000 US to our efforts as well, and we say thank you to our good friends from the East, the government and people of Taiwan. The Member of Parliament for Gros Bay, Honorable Kenson Kazimi, he's having his own challenges in crafting a response to provide assistance to affected residents in the district of Grizzly.